Hello to everyone here, friends, family, colleagues. My father wanted to be here and he had even penned down what he wanted to share with you all, but unfortunately, he's in Kerala today. But that gives me the opportunity to speak on his behalf. And I also get to share a few things, a few memories that I have of Rao uncle, as I used to call him. And I would like to be honest here that I am even a little embarrassed to admit that I wish I had spent more time with him. He was living just a floor away from me. And after listening to all his colleagues here, I actually envy all of you all that I didn't make the efforts to spend more time with him, and I should have done that, because every time I met him, I would have a lot of questions. I would want opportunity. And now I don't feel the need to explain to anyone present here that Dr. Prasada Rao was an extraordinary man. And more than his eminent contributions in the field of science and as an entrepreneur, when I say extraordinary, I mean he was an extraordinary human being. And I had the good fortune of getting to see and experience his generosity and hospitality, which is only a small part of what he had to offer. He had lots to offer. He had a big heart. And I remember once on one of the many parties that auntie and uncle had hosted, I found some time to ask him. I was a child back then, and I asked him with a childish curiosity that, did you always know that you are going to be a scientist? And on being asked this question, I remember he chuckled and he had this childish smile which reflected his innocence and honesty. And he said, you never know what it is that you will be, but I always kept searching, and that is what you're supposed to do. You keep searching, and when you stop searching, that is when you not end up anywhere. But if you keep searching, there are always answers. And I guess that speaks a lot about the kind of scientist he was. And so I remember him today, and for years to come. I remember his gracious smile. I remember how he'd offer me juice at these parties that he used to host. And then he would promise me that he'll get it for me, but along the way he'd forget it. But it only filled my heart with a lot of love and respect for him, because he had a beautiful mind, and beautiful minds always often forget little things like getting juice for the young neighbor. I also remember the numerous blessings I received from him, and this would be on the occasional greetings I used to exchange with him on the stairway. And I would always look forward to those blessings, because I remember even that smile from him and that blessing would give me some kind of assurance that today is going to be a good day. And I'd like to read a few portions of what my father had written, penned down, and he wanted to share, but he is not here. So let me tell you what was most touching about those anecdotes. He would pause in between and say, "Can you believe it, Mr. Nair?" Mr. Nair is how he would call my father. "Once, Mr. Kalam, there was no reason to say, 'Can you believe?' We all knew even the greatest dignitaries would have wanted to meet him if they knew about him. But his humility made him say, 'Can you believe it?' Mr. Nair. Let me tell it now, when he is no longer present amidst us physically, that there was never a question of not believing a single word he uttered. One look at his face, and it was apparent that he was a man who never lied. Let me also remember the episode of how he broke the news of getting the Lifetime Achievement Award. He telephoned me and said with an excitement of an adolescent, "Mr. Nair, you know, I have received this year's Lifetime Achievement Award." I was stunned to respond by the sudden breaking of this happy news and also the innocence and humility of the man who wanted to share it with me. Perhaps he felt that I had not understood the magnitude of his achievement. He continued, "Mr. Nair, you know who all were the previous winners of this award?" "No, sir," I confessed. He reeled off some 4 or 5 distinguished names. One of them was APJ Abdul Kalam. Now, my father also wanted me to mention Sujata auntie. So, a few words about Sujata auntie who would not be out of place. I think God has given Rao uncle a wife who had practical ability in dealing with day-to-day life situations. She too would enrich us by sharing with us how her 2 children, Uday and Harita, were reared when both uncle and auntie were employed. How Uday was made to sleep in his uniform so that he could leave early for school. How when my mother-in-law was seriously ill, this is back when my grandmother was ill and we had to leave for Kerala on short notice, Sujata auntie took care of our children. Auntie did take care of me and my sister. And when the children had to fly to Kerala for attending their grandmother's funeral, Sujata auntie got up early and personally drove them to the airport. How are such virtues kept alive in life? How can one continue to love the world without expecting anything in return? I think I can make a guess after knowing Dr. Prasada Rao. Here I would like to end with my prayers and love for the family and everyone who knew him and who were close to him. Thank you.